There are a lot of things Virat Kohli can't do in India. What would a normal day for Virat Kohli and family be in UK?
A normal day, firstly now with our daughter, it's putting her to sleep first thing, then stepping out for, if it's an off day, of course, stepping out for breakfast somewhere, grab a quick coffee in the time that we get, and then come back to the room to be with our daughter again. And then whenever, look, priority is obviously making sure that we stay up to speed with her schedule, and whenever things are done, sorted in the room, then we step out for some time to ourselves, and just taking a stroll down the street is probably the most relaxing thing for the both of us.
Just a stroll for Virat Kohli and his wife and daughter Vamika will be one of the best things to happen in their life. Is that fair to say?
Absolutely. I mean, such is the reality of our lives back home. Can't complain about anything in life, but we have to adjust and move on with times. How our lives have evolved back home, you know what it's like. Thinking of just going down the street in India is not even a dream for us. It doesn't even arrive in our dreams anymore. Normalcy for any human being. At the end of the day, we're all human beings who just want some normalcy every now and then and just relax.
So do you miss the Virat Kohli that used to go to Chuk Chuk Mein?
Of course I do. And those...
By the way, that's the local Chinese restaurant, which is a food truck, by the way, which Virat used to go. When Virat was chubby at that stage, is that fair to say?
Yes, I was very chubby. Still am very fond of food, but luckily I understood exactly what I need to do to stay at this level till the time I play. And I still miss those days. It's not like those days are out of my memory. I still talk to my friends back home, talk about those days when we used to finish practice and go straight to this mini Chinese food van and just smash whatever we liked without caring about anything in the world.
What was a dish that you used to have?
I used to obviously eat everything back then. So chicken fried rice was my regular with chili chicken.
Szechuan sauce?
No, it's chili chicken. No Szechuan sauce, just chicken fried rice and chili chicken.
A chubby Virat Kohli to a chiseled Virat Kohli, who is the epitome of what sport is all about today. When did that light bulb moment happen?
It happened in 2012, played the IPL in 2012, and the lead up to that was interesting because I had scored my first Test 100 in Australia in 2012, followed by that game against Sri Lanka in Hobart, where we chased that total down within 40 overs. That came out of nowhere, honestly. I did not believe that I could do something like that at the international stage. It happened, gave me so much belief from there, and then Asia Cup came, and I got 183 against Pakistan. On a Sunday, everyone was watching, so things really just turned in about 6 months for me. But I forgot the basics of the game. I started, becoming more desperate, and I thought, went too far ahead of myself. I thought, this IPL, I'm going to dominate everyone. But the moment IPL started, a few games which didn't go my way, and my mindset completely dropped to the other end. I was eating anything that came in sight. I was finishing candy packets, 40 pieces a packet. I would finish 3 packets a week. I was eating horribly, sleeping horribly. My habits were all over the place. And I finished IPL. I remember I went home, came out of the shower first day, and I saw myself in the mirror and I was ashamed. It was literally, I saw myself and I thought I'm looking at another human being, and I told myself, look, if you want to play cricket at the highest level, this is not the way that you can manage. And from next day onwards, I changed everything about my diet, the way I trained, everything. And from then on, it was just an obsession.
August, September 2014 wasn't your best time in your life. You were struggling in England. That's the best way to put it. Come November, you go to Australia, you smash them, get 400s in 4 test matches. How did the transformation happen? What is the mental shift that happened in 2 months' time when you go from one continent to another?
You know that, playing at this level over a long period of time, you tend to go into a space where you become a bit insecure, you become fearful, you want to prove to people how good you are in different conditions. And to be honest, before that Australia tour, I was treating every foreign tour like, more like an engineering exam that I have to pass somehow, and I have to show people that I can play at this level. But there I realized that, once you're down and out, there was hardly anyone who came to help me. There was hardly anyone who was looking towards me and saying, listen, let's work together and, try to get your game up to speed. Everyone was just going after me left, right and center. So I was like, am I playing to prove these people wrong? for what? I've got nothing to do with them, and they literally have nothing to contribute in my life. So I went back home. I was down for quite a bit. The great thing that happened at that stage was I realized who's with me, who's not. Things were filtered to an extent that I just got so relaxed when I went back home. I was like, okay, I've hit rock bottom now. No one believes in me. Everyone thinks I should not be playing Test cricket. So what can I do? I can just work as hard as I can. Went into a bubble. I went to Bombay as well. I called Sachin Tendulkar. I asked for his help. I said, see, I want to get my game right. I want to understand what it's like to score runs at this level. My mindset was simple. I went back home. I told myself, listen, you can't play Test cricket to show people that you can play in England and play in Australia and not get out. And if you don't score, it's no point. You play this game to make your team win. So my mindset was, I'm going to go to Australia, and how am I going to score runs against these guys? I wasn't going out there to survive. And from the time I got back home till the Australia tour, I promise you, I was visualizing every day when I was working out in the gym that I'm hitting Mitchell Johnson, I'm hitting these guys all over the park. And those things came to life eventually because I convinced myself to an extent. When I went there, I was absolutely fearless and things just started flowing.
There were two instances in my life that happened with you there. And I realized I'm talking to the greatest cricketer ever. And in my books, one of the greatest sportsmen ever by far. That I have met, I think you're the greatest. I don't want to put you on a pedestal, but I want to say this. One, when you were going through what you went through in 2014, I sent you a message saying, don't worry, Virat, a lot of players have gone through. You will get over. And you sent me, just wait and watch in a couple of months' time. And I think, jeez, what a cocky guy. He's struggling. He can't put bat to ball and he's saying, wait in 2 months' time. You go to Australia, you show what it is. It's not like you wanted to show it to me. But, I reached out to you, but the answer I got was, don't worry, just wait and watch. So are you born with this confidence, or do you earn this confidence along the journey?
That's who I am. To be very honest, that's who I've always been. The background of my journey is not many people know about the background of my journey. I've been speaking to and consulting with the same coach since I was 8 years old, since I stepped foot into my cricket academy, which I learnt everything from. My coach Rajkumar Sharma, I still speak to him now. When I was speaking to him a couple of days back, and your perspective in life changes every now and then. As I said, with fame, with money, and with success, there are too many people who become close to you, and you tend to sort of forget from the core of your heart who you really are. But this is the guy I've always been. And the beautiful thing about my journey from a young age group has been that I was part of an academy where no one was talking about that academy or that club. So for me, the only way up was, if someone's getting 100, I have to get 200. Otherwise, no one's going to notice me. And I had that fire inside me all the time. And that's exactly what I did to come up the ranks. I scored so many runs that people could not ignore me, because that was my only driving force. And that actually came from the example that my father set for me. There was a time in my life where there was an opportunity. I was selected for under 14 Delhi team, and then I was dropped at 1 a.m. because of some complications. And what happens in state levels. Someone was preferred over me because of some compensations that were done and stuff like that. So same was offered to my father as well, that if you can, maybe he can get into the team after 2 games. So my father straight away said, I'm not going to pay a single penny to make him play. If he can play on his talent, so be it. If not, it's not meant to be for him. So that stuck with me for life. And I've always relied on myself and what I can do as an individual first. And then I'll take help along the way. And people who have been willing and open to help me and understand who I really am have been the ones that have been closest to me. So this natural, when my back is against the wall, there's only one way for me, and that's forward. And I will do everything in my power to fight my way up again.
This is an emotional question. I know your dad meant a lot to you. I know he passed away in 2006. But the next day after that happened, you went to a domestic cricket match and played. What would make a Virat Kohli do that? What was he thinking?
I honestly, I was blank that morning, and I called my coach, and he was quite understanding of the situation. He asked me, what do you want to do? And instinctively my answer was, I want to go and play. For me, leaving a cricket game in the middle of me batting overnight was just not an option at all. If I hadn't started the game, that's different. But for me to leave a cricket game in the middle of it was something that I could not even imagine. So leaving my team like that, I felt like it was not fair to the game that I love so much. And that's literally my life and soul. My father would have wanted me to do the same. So it was just a no-brainer for me. And I told my family. My family was a bit surprised that I wanted to go and play. And I just went into a zen mode, and I just went out there, and things just started flowing again, as I said. And these are the times that make you realize that this is exactly what you're meant to do, and everything that happens in your life from here on are going to be this through this source called cricket. So the whole journey, the kind of matches that have happened, the kind of knocks that have happened, the kind of moments that have happened that people have looked and said, "Wow, I want to do the same." It's literally me making an impact on other people through this game. So that's when I realized this is my journey, and I need to do things in a very organic, in a very, very pure way. Because when you watch it on TV, you can tell the difference between someone trying to fake it or someone playing with heart, and you obviously want to repeat the same. I saw that in my heroes. So I thought, look, this is exactly what I need to do in life. There was not even a moment of doubt.
You take the Under-19 World Cup and then you're jumping and there's aggression. You take 2021 World Test Championship, there's a wicket, it's probably the 8th wicket, which is innocuous, but you still have the same aggression. That feistiness is what is there on the ground. But off the field, you're a very different person. But do you think this feistiness brings out the best in you every time you step on the field for India and for your franchisees?
Well, for me, a game of cricket is about making your team win. I can very well enjoy the process of batting in nets. I can very well smile and have fun and fun and games. But when you mean business, you mean business. In life, I don't have to compete with anyone. I'm not in a space in everyday life where I have to be feisty or aggressive. But for me, one thing was always very clear. When I step onto the field, I'm going to give 120% every game that I play. And one thing for a fact that no one can count that against me. Till the time I play this game, I am going to play this way, and this is who I am. And if my mindset in the field is simple, I will not stand around wanting people to do something that I'm not able to do first. For me, every ball is an event. I'll throw myself around every ball of the whole test match. Whether it's the 90th over of the 5th day, I'll still throw myself around, because for me, every moment is an opportunity to make your team win. And that is exactly why you step onto the field. You have to make that time count. Our careers are so short anyway. Even if you play for 20 years, after that you can't play the game. So when you are on the field, you absolutely make most of it. And I let things flow. I don't necessarily look to put any restrictions or tabs or filters on me, because I feel like I have to be myself. I have to be my organic self. If you don't like it, that's fine. That's for you to judge or you to decide. But is that going to make me change myself? Not at all.
So my second greatest moment with you was, I was with you in we played together in RCB. So and we were just chatting, and we had the England tour coming forward. And I remember I was just chatting to you about a game, and I'm like, "What are you doing, Virat?" And he said, "No, I'm just visualizing me playing at Lords, and I've already scored 100." And I'm thinking, absolutely mad guy. What is he talking about? So 2 months later, what is this process of visualization that you speak about, and how important has it been in your journey so far?
Massive. For me, as I said before that Australia tour, as I pointed out, honestly, I mean, if you had told me, anyone who would have known what I'm doing in those sessions leading up to the Australia tour, where I was visualizing taking on probably the most dangerous bowler in the world at the moment, Mitchell Johnson, and someone would have told me, you're a fool, that you're literally going in there and wanting to get under his skin or taking him on straight away. But for me, there always have been two options for me. Either it's fight or flight, and I've never taken flight.
Fight or flight.
I've never taken flight. For me, that's just not because look, I can take flight if I can't sleep peacefully at night. For me, it's not worth it. I might as well take the fight. If I fail, I know that I took the right option, and that gives me peace. For me, when I leave the field, as I just said, I need to be able to know that I've given everything I had, and I sleep like a baby. There is nothing else that can distract me then, because in my potential as a human being, God has blessed me with a healthy mind, healthy body, an opportunity which everyone wants. So I have to be honest to that. I have to live up to that. So for me, these things are just a process, just a part of the process, which is you keep moving forward. You keep taking the positive option. Whether you get success or not, that's irrelevant, but never take a backward step.
2014, you play against England, not a great series. Are you one of those guys like, how dare you get me out? Because the next times you've seen England, you've been the highest run scorer in India, you were the highest run scorer again when you played England. So is it a question of, you can't do this to me, I'm the best going around. Every time I see you, I'm going to knock you down. Is that a kind of attitude that you possess, or it's just a process and it just happened?
Look, when I step onto the field, I have to believe that I'm the best. Because my mindset, as I said, was very clear from the first time I started playing this game. I'm not going to allow anyone to think that I'm just a pushover on the field. It's not to disrespect anyone, but it's belief in my own abilities that fine, you have the ball in hand, but if you get it wrong, you know you're getting hit for runs. And I'm going to stand here all day. If you get me out and you bowl a great spell, hats off to you. But the next time I'm going to be here again. So make sure that you bring your A game. And that's the mindset that I try and get into invariably. Because look, at this level, people are going to eat you up. If you show them any vulnerability or fears, they're going to eat you up. So for me, I just have to be as fearless as I can. And even if I get out, I want to get out on my terms. If I get out in confusion, it bothers me a lot because I just don't like the feeling of not knowing what's going on. I might as well make a silly mistake and know this is what I need to correct. Everything else is fine. So I don't go, as I said, I don't go out there anymore to prove anyone wrong. But I put myself in a position where I want to do special things. I want us to win special series.
I know you're a big fan of Ronaldo. What do you like about him?
The thing I admire about him is that he's probably had people, I won't say disliking him, but disregarding a lot of what he's done over the years, and just his mental strength to just keep going, just being the best in the world. I agree Messi probably has more natural ability, but for this guy to do what he's done day in, day out, and to keep that kind of discipline, to stay at the top of his game for 15 years, it's, for me, that is the epitome of professionalism and discipline and what mindset can do to an individual. Every time he plays, people know that something special could happen, and that's what I admire about him.
You're a very rooted guy, you're a family guy. And I remember the first time you met Anushka, I remember this very well. You said, the prettiest girl I've ever seen in my life. How has that been? How has that journey been? The time that you were together and then post-marriage, how has that journey been?
Well, it's... I always tell Anushka that, and I've said this many times. If I hadn't met her, I don't know where I would be in life. I was such a reactive kind of an individual that I just didn't know structure in life, what structure means, you know. Ever since I met her, I knew from the time I met her that
Were you shy at the start to even talk to her?
Not really. I mean, I was like how I joke around with everyone. I started joking around with her, and luckily she had the same background as me. Like,
did she think, what a nasty guy, he's just coming first day on the
set? She found it funny because she said for the first time I saw someone around me joking about the things that I've experienced as a child. So that really, you know, connected at the right level. And I always tell everyone this, that she's made me realize, as I said, where I am and what impact I can have through what I do. So she's actually elevated me, I don't know how many levels as a person, and that has eventually, you know, filtered through in cricket as well. So I couldn't be more grateful and lucky to have a life partner like her.
So is it fair to say that you were like a rough diamond, she's polished you into a nice shining one?
Absolutely. She is absolutely my better half.
I saw this interview where you said that, you know, when you were young, you used to squeeze the toothpaste all the way to the end. Today you have such nasty habits. I know things like OCD issues, like keeping everything in a bag, in a box. You come to your room, your shoes are in one direction, your bat is in a certain place. Where did this come about, the cleanliness? Did cricket teach you this discipline, or this discipline made you a better cricketer?
I wouldn't say I was the most disciplined before, but then again, from the time that shift started happening, eventually what it told me was, you as cricketers, you go away from practice, you spend a lot of time in your room, in your own surroundings. So the surroundings have to make you feel relaxed and calm as well. Somehow I don't like things, you know, just thrown around, and I like to keep things in place, in order. Similarly with my kit bag, with my stuff in the dressing room as well. I just can't see my stuff being thrown around. I like a bit of structure there because it makes me feel aligned, it makes me feel relaxed, calm, that, you know, again, that's part of my process as a human being. Am I being respectful to my surroundings as well? Am I doing what I'm supposed to do, or am I treating the dressing room like a garbage bin that I can throw everything around? No, that for me is unacceptable. I draw my own boundaries, and I make sure that within that I keep everything clean and nice.
You have a social media following on one certain platform, about 140 million, which is 2.5 times the population of UK. So that's a lot of people who admire you, who follow you, who love you. I know to a certain extent what you think about the social media, but what would your advice be to the young boy and girl? how do they deal with social media?
The only way to deal with social media is I can relate that example to that 2014 tour and what happened after. It does not matter at all what people have to say about stuff that you post, stuff that you do online. At the end of the day, you have to stay true to why you did what you did. Does that make you feel happy? Is that happening with pure involvement? Is that coming from an organic source? As long as that's the answer, you don't need to worry about what 5 people have to say about you in the comment section. Because I know for a fact people do get affected by this. People take it very, very seriously. And for me, that's just noise. At the end of the day, those are letters typed by someone in a comment section. Why should it bother anyone? Why give that much importance to a person you have no idea who that person is? Stay true to who you are. As an individual, realize your own potential and what you can do with your life. Utilize social media for the right reasons. Don't let it control you. Have control over it to an extent where you know exactly what you need to do with it. And me and Anushka both follow the same thing. She says the same thing. Don't let social media control you. You be in control of how much you want to look at it, what you want to do with it. If you've posted stuff, you don't need to bother about whether 1,000 people abuse you online, whatever they have to say about you. That's just noise for me. And that's always been the case for me as an individual. I've been booed by 40, 50,000 people regularly when I enter the stadiums. If I start focusing on those 50,000, I can't play a ball. For me, that's an opportunity. That's an opportunity for me to say, okay, fine, things are stacked up against me. Let me test myself how good I am. So I think the same thing can be applied in that regard as well.
One of the things that I have noticed, you reach out to the young boys. And I know, when in your younger days, you had your fair share of parties, you had your fun. But today you're a very family-oriented guy who's definitely not fascinated by either parties or drinking so much. So, and I know you reach out to these young boys who come. Sometimes you get carried away a little bit with the adulation. Why would you do that?
If you told me I had to walk away from this game tomorrow, I can walk away without any regrets. Because everything that I've done since I entered the Indian cricket team has always been for the team. Has always been from the point of view, how can I improve this environment that I'm a part of? The reason why I reach out to these guys is because I don't want them to waste probably months and years of my life that I wasted as a youngster, still trying to figure things out. When I found out the formula for success and what it means to compete at this level, I want these guys to pick it up early so that the transition with Indian cricket can be very smooth. It should not take youngsters 2 and 3 years after the seniors are gone to build the team again. So I want them up to speed immediately when we are, almost about to step out and Indian cricket stays on top. So my mindset has always been, how can I get these guys match ready? How can I get these guys into a space where it doesn't matter whether the guy bowling or running into bowl has got 130, 140 test matches and you've got 4. If you have more belief in yourself than him on the day, you can outplay him. So that's what I've tried to inculcate in their minds. That don't let these norms of playing 30, 40 games and gaining experience fool you. Because even after 80, 90 tests, if you're not in a good frame of mind, experience counts for nothing. You're still going to nick the first ball into slips. So this is a game that has to be played in the moment and you have to play one day at a time. And as long as you're fulfilling your potential on that day, that's all that matters. So that's exactly why I go into that space and I talk to them about the things that I did wrong when I came in. Don't play for, proving people wrong. Don't play for stuff that does not matter, which is England tour, tick mark, Australia tour, tick mark. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. Were you in the right head? Did you step onto the field absolutely fearless? If you did and you're failing every innings, no problem at all. It was just not meant to be for you. But don't play for the wrong reasons. So that's what I try and strive for with the younger guys stepping in.
A hypothetical question, Virat Kohli at 50, when he turns back and looks around, Virat Kohli the captain, what's the legacy that you would have wanted to achieve as a captain?
In my mind, I've already achieved what I wanted to as a leader, which is to create an environment and a culture where people strive for excellence every day. And when I see us practicing now, every session that we play, no one's wasting their time on the field. That for me is so important, because I would rather have an hour of quality practice and I've done everything that I had to do, rather than lurking around for 2 hours, 2.5 hours, fooling around for an hour in between. I don't see anyone doing that anymore. It's absolutely precise, it's absolutely professional. Even at the age group level, if you want to play for India, you got to be fit. You got to have a certain kind of fitness level Fast bowlers who are coming in now are ready to bowl 20 overs, easy, and they're fit. They hardly have any niggles. So I feel I've done my job in the transitional phase. After MS left, cricket evolved, it changed. The pace of the game started, moving notches higher, and we moved with time. We stayed up to speed, and the results of which in the last 5-6 years is for everyone to see. We are probably the one team in world cricket that everyone's wary of when we travel, and that's all that I wanted to see as the captain of the Indian cricket team.
In the current England setup, there's Burns, there's Sibley, very unorthodox. But you don't find such unorthodox batters coming from India. Do you think we are taught fundamental basics of the game far higher in India, or in a different way the coaching is?
Could be. Also could be difference of conditions. I don't think conditions in India challenge you to play in a different way, to be very honest. You might see us playing spin differently to other people, but when it comes to fast bowling, I don't think that in India the ball does so much that you need to find different ways of scoring. If you're fundamentally correct or your foundations of batting are correct, you can score runs invariably. You know that in India it does not seam or swing as much. So we're not too bothered by growing up what areas I need to score, and everyone's wanting to score down the ground and meet the ball in the middle of the bat. And we love to feel ball on bat, which can be a downfall for us in conditions which are slightly testing. So we actually evolve and learn on the go, which I think is a great strength for us, because as soon as you are in a learning phase, every time you play, there's something to grasp and add to your game, which I think is a great thing, because then you're never getting arrogant or never getting too far ahead of yourself. Every time you play in different conditions, as subcontinent players, okay, I need to adjust my game to these conditions, and these are the scoring areas I need to focus on, and then you have a purpose to work towards.
You're a very all-round guy, I noticed. You're one of the few guys who can sing well, definitely enjoys dancing, loves this Punjabi songs. I think that's born in you. And you're a life of the party in most of the places. Do you enjoy being the life of the party, or you want people around you just to be happy and have a good time? What is it?
Of course, I love joking around. I love making people laugh. You've been around the group for a long time. We've played a lot of cricket together. You would know I genuinely like people having a good time, and for me it's not being the center of attention. I would very happily be sitting in a place going unnoticed, but if I have an opportunity and I see people hesitating around not starting something, I'd want to be the first guy to just relax everyone, just get it going, get everyone into it, and just like to see people have fun, even on the field. Even in the toughest moments, the mindset is simple. Let's go out there, have fun, just enjoy this moment. Face the fear, look it in the eye and say, fine, I'm gonna have a smile on my face, and I'm gonna keep coming at you. And that's how I live my life as well. I don't live my life half and half. I've never done something which I'm not 100% convinced about. So for me, as I said, if you wanted me to walk away now, I'd have zero regrets in life or in cricket.
Not many people know this side about you. You're probably one of the most punctual and disciplined person. If there's a time that's given either for an interview or for a shoot, I've always noticed this. You are there on time. Is that something that you learnt on the go, or is that something you had your parents inculcated that in you? Well,
I think my father firstly was a very punctual man, and then my coach as well. For him, not being on time was absolutely not accepted. There was no tolerance for that. So 6 a.m. practice means I was there 5:45 every morning. I'd probably sit there, wait for the fog to clear out, and then start knocking balls before everyone arrived. That just became a norm for me. Even now, when I have the opportunity to go into the gym early or come to practice early, I would take it with both hands, and it's just become a habit for me now. And also, I think the more busy you get, especially when you have to do commercials and stuff, I like to reach on time and I like to leave on time. It should not filter either way. So I think it's just become a part of my life now.
Do you lack time? Sometimes you feel 24 hours is not enough.
You can't experience what someone is going through until you actually live their lives for a bit. From the outside, from people's point of view, yes, they can look at my life and say, oh, he's got everything. But at the end of the day, what you really need is to be happy in your heart and enjoy what you do on a daily basis. And most of the times there is lack of time, there is restrictions on time, so you have to look to make time for yourself, and eventually then you have to prioritize what you want to do in life. So I think I'm in that phase now where moving forward I'll have to prioritize things that absolutely mean the world to me and things that don't, and start filtering stuff out, which is the next transitional phase for me.
Do you think in 15 years' time, international cricket will have 3 formats?
That's a tough one. It depends on the quality of cricket, to be fair. Test cricket probably would have been in trouble, say, 3 years back as well. But I think it's the players that keep Test cricket alive. To be very honest, if we didn't have the mindset to play Test cricket and be so passionate for it, that would have taken a huge hit. Or that would have given a huge blow to Test cricket all over the world. I can absolutely assure you that. World Test Championship is a very, very positive move in the right direction. There's everything at stake in every Test match that you play. And I think it all depends what the players want from Test cricket. If Test cricket is looked at as just a format where you don't want to put an effort for 5 days, there's no survival for Test cricket. If watching Test cricket on television, people feel like, I don't want to miss a ball because these 11 guys versus these 11 guys are going to go at each other for 5 days to get a result, that's eventually what's going to keep Test cricket alive.
Whether you like it or not, you're the torchbearer for Test cricket right now. And you know for a fact there are probably only 3 or 4 nations competing. The others are struggling in various departments for various reasons. What would you tell them? How can they get up to speed with the rest of the cricketing nations which are competing against each other, and then the rest have just fallen away a bit? How do you think that can get a little better?
Well, I think firstly, you need to be honest with yourself. I mean, Test cricket is tough. I mean, even when you're one of the top teams in the world, or probably the best Test team in the world over the last few years, you can still go into a space where you probably don't want it. At certain stages you feel like, for 5 days, do I want to do this again? So you really need to be absolutely honest with yourself. Are you ready for the hard grind? Are you ready to wake up on day 3 when things are absolutely stacked up against you and go out there and bowl difficult spells for the team? Or when you know that you are in trouble, as a batting unit, are you going out there to get that 100 or get that 150 for your team? You know it's going to be tough. Things are going to stack up. You probably have to do it for 5-6 hours over a period of 2 days. Are you strong enough to do that? So I think honesty, firstly, looking at yourself in the mirror, whether you want Test cricket or not, and if the answer is yes, then you just go after it relentlessly. And I honestly feel like there's not enough motivation for people towards Test cricket. It's something that I observe, and that's why you can very well see that teams invariably give up very easily in Test cricket and don't find ways to get back into the game.
We need more Virat Kohlis in world cricket to keep Test cricket going. Is that a fair statement, you think? People who are fascinated by Test cricket, people who are looking to go there and grind, fight. Every night when you go in, there's a fight, and the next day morning when you wake up, your body is tired, but push yourself and enjoy every moment on the field. That's a hard one, isn't it?
It is a hard one. Well, you've got one for now, and he's going to give everything for Test cricket till the time he plays. I can assure you that. I don't know about the mindset of other people, but for me, this is the absolute pinnacle of the game.
What is Virat Kohli as a father like, as a dad? How has he enjoyed these last 6 months?
Obviously, things change after you become parents. Your priorities totally shift. But there's such a calming energy in your child's smile. When they smile at you, you literally forget everything in the world, and it's so pure. I don't have words. I don't know how to actually express that feeling, but it is probably the biggest blessing that I've ever received.
Slightly more emotional question is where I wanted to go next. I don't know if I want to. Do you miss your dad sometimes that he hasn't seen Vamika? Is that something that have you thought about?
Many times.
Yeah?
Many times. Vamika now, obviously, this is one of the things that I would have loved for him to see, because he actually passed away before I even played for India. So he hasn't seen me play for India. Obviously, now with our daughter, I see the happiness on my mother's face. Anushka's parents, for them, it's his first grandchild. I see how happy they get. So yeah, those are moments where you sit down and think, what if he was still here? But then again, God has a plan for everyone. So I never doubt God's plan.
It's only fair to say, I know for a fact, I've seen it, that you've literally imbibed Anushka's parents literally as your own parents in these last 5-6 years that you've been together. How have they been? What is the relationship like with the in-laws?
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. Just the acceptance from day one was something that was so beautiful. I never felt out of place whenever I met them, whenever I went to see Anushka. Even now, my father-in-law and me are like friends. We share. I can literally share everything with him. And he's an ex-army man. His point of view is so fearless and so clear. It's absolutely amazing when I speak to him about anything. And my mother-in-law as well, just beautiful people, and my brother-in-law as well. All of them are so accepting and so welcoming. At the end of the day, you realize when you so organically blend with people who accept you so quickly, that relationships are only based on mutual respect and understanding and unconditional love is what they call, and that's something that I've absolutely experienced with them.
You have a brother, you have a sister, and now you obviously have Karnesh. All of them are, all of them are part of your immediate family. How is that relationship? You have with your sister, you have two brothers now. How does that work?
Amazing. Everyone is really fun to be around. When we're all in the same place, there's just fun and jokes and laughter all the time. We try to get together as families as much as we can. Obviously, because of COVID, things haven't been possible from that point of view, but these are one of the things that we strive to do moving ahead as well. Mark times in the year where we get together as a family, probably go to the hills or go to another place where everyone takes 2 weeks off, and in the same place, just enjoying each other's company, good conversations, a lot of fun and games, and it's just a beautiful feeling for two families to get together and really have a great time with each other.
Virat has to give an immediate snapshot of his journey of cricket. Just give me a few things. What you would immediately remember?
The one consistent thing in my journey as a cricketer has always been, how can I make my team win from here? That's the only question that I have in my mind.
Big games, Virat stands up. People have seen it, I've seen it myself. How do you do that? What happens? What is different in big games?
Again, it's an opportunity. If 50,000 people in the stadium feel like it cannot be done, I would challenge myself to say it can be done. And I've seen it happen in number of times where my conviction in how I see the situation has been far more powerful than the doubts of thousands of people in the same place. And again, that has shown me the power of visualization, as the question you asked before. In any situation, I believe I can do it, and things start following that way.
Australia, done. You were the captain. England, unconquered territory. 2 questions there. What does it mean for a Virat Kohli to win a series in England, a test series in England? What does it take to win a test series in England?
I'll answer your second question first. It takes relentless madness and pursuit of excellence every day over a 5 test series to tell yourself, I want to do the hard work, and I want to get into situations which are tough in every test match on every day, firstly. And you've got to be ready for that kind of workload and that kind of mental load. To answer your first question, for me personally, it means nothing more than winning a test match or a test series anywhere else in the world. As I said, for me, these things are not, anecdotes in my career or milestones in my career. If we step onto the field and we compete and we are looking to win every test match, that's what matters more to me, because again, that's a culture. These are results. For Indian cricket, yes, it'll be a huge thing. We've done it before, we can do it again. But this culture is what is more dear to me, and I will do everything in my ability. Even if we lose a test match, I want us to go for the win and not surrender or try to save a test match on day 3 or day 4. That for me just not acceptable. So for me, as I said, milestones don't matter at all. If I had played for milestones in my career, I probably wouldn't have half of what I have right now. So my mindset is pretty clear, and for us, it's just pursuit of excellence.